My name is Danielle Bailey. It is February 22nd, 2010, and I am interviewing Thomas Talerico.
Don't talk so fast.
Can you please state your full name and when and where you were born?
My name is Thomas J. Talerico. I was born in Utica, New York. And my date of birth? My date of birth is March 10th, 1924.
What pre-war education did you have?
A high school education. And I had 2 years of college from the General Electric where I worked.
Did you have a previous occupation?
Yes, I was a technician at the General Electric on electronics.
Where did you enter the service?
I entered the service in at Camp Upton. That's New York. That's where they, it's like a entering service where they send you, where they have to send you on basic training. And when I went down to Miami Beach, and that's where I stayed there for 3 months. And then from there, I was transferred to Tent City in Savannah, Georgia. And I stayed there, and all the people in Tent City were supposed to go to the Pacific. They call it the Hot Squadron. But because they called my name, out of 12 of us, out of all those people, all the soldiers there, we were to report at a Hunter airfield and the guard system. And this is where I spent 13 months at Hunter airfield. And then from there, I got shipped out to Louisiana for 6 weeks of basic training, and from there I went overseas. And there I joined as a company in Germany. I don't know where it was at, but it wasn't a bad, and they were having battle. And from there I went through 3 campaign battles, ended up in Czechoslovakia. And in fact, that was at the end of the war. Our objective was Pilsen, but the people in Pilsen revolted, and that's where the end of the war was supposed to be, right there. So from there, they sent me back to Germany, and I ended up in the Nuremberg trials. And the Nuremberg trials, well, I forgot to tell you that I got shot in the shoulder, and just before we got to Dresden, I think it was down in Dresden, from a tank, and 50 caliber bullet. I got hit in the shoulder. But what saved my shoulder was it hit the strap, and it kind of ricocheted off. But I spent 3 months in the hospital, and then from there I went back into battle again, and then I ended up in Czechoslovakia. From Czechoslovakia I went to the Nuremberg trials, and I stayed there for quite a while until I went back, until my points were up. They had to get 50 points and over, and before they send you back home. But I met Big 21, what they call the bigwigs of Germany that controlled the war, like Göring, Hess, and Donuts, and Big 21, whatever they were, Himmler, and so on. And I talked to Göring, and they spoke impeccable English, because their countries are like our state, and they had to learn different languages. So I worked at the Nuremberg trials. I worked as a special guard, taking these prisoners to their lawyers, their delegation room, and wherever else that they had to go. From there, my time was up. They sent me to 104 Wolf Division back to Czechoslovakia, and that's where I was sent back home.
What was your most memorable experience from training?
The most memorable experience, not being in the war, but I think my most memorable experience was at Nuremberg trials. I had a very good job. I stayed at the SS Kaserne, which was the stormtroopers. They were the top German army. In fact, I stayed at one of their rooms, which was only a mile away from where they had their parades. And I went to work at 9 o'clock in the morning. I caught the streetcar down to the Nuremberg trials. I worked from 9 to 6. And then the next day I had it off. And the next day I went in from 6 to 9. And the next day I had that off. And the Nuremberg trials, they had this courtroom that was very small. They had a small balcony. And they had these earphones where you would adjust it to according to the language, French, German, English, Russian, whatever. And of course they had interpreters. And that's about it. The guard, the cells where they had an opening where they could, they had the guards had 4 hours on and 8 hours off, and they could see with the prisoners how they watched them, except where they had an alcove. That's where they had the commode, the toilet. You couldn't see them go to the bathroom. So that's about it. And then from there I came back home.
How do you think your experiences at the Nuremberg trials affected you?
Say that again.
How do you think your experiences at the Nuremberg trials affected you?
Really, I just took matters the way they were. I took the prisoners. Somebody asked me if I carried a weapon. I says no. I said, but they had guards at every door that I had to go through to get where my destination was at with the prisoner. My experience there, I think it was a very good experience. I enjoyed it very much. I had a good job, and I had a pink pass. I could eat anywhere. I don't think anybody could have had it any better than I had. So, that's about it.
During your service, were you able to keep in touch with your friends and family at home?
Oh yes, oh yes. I wrote letters and they wrote back. My sister-in-laws, my mother, and in fact I had another brother in the service. We kept in contact with each other. Oh yes, I got a lot of letters, a lot of stuff that they sent through the mail. It was a very good experience.
Are there any really good positive times that you can remember during your service?
Tell them about the family in Savannah, Georgia. The family in Savannah.
Oh, in Georgia?
I mean
In
yes,
Savannah?
Yes, the people that were
Oh.
kind to you.
Well, when I was at Hunter Field, it was only half a mile from the city of Savannah. And they had at PX, they had these dances every week, and these girls would come with a truck, and they would come there and dance with the servicemen and mingle with them and so on. And the band that they had was a family band. It was a mother, a son, and a daughter. And the daughter played the drums. And when she used to play solo on the drums, I just standing by and watching them. And I don't know why she picked on me, but she invited me to the house, and that family treated me like a son. They took me everywhere. They did everything for me. I appreciated everything that they did. the girl was like just a friend, but because I was in the service, and it wasn't anything seriously. She's a very, very pretty girl, naturally. When you're young, you are pretty. And so, like I said, I stayed there 13 months, and then from there, they shipped me out to Louisiana. So that's about quite a few memorable things that I had in the service. I would recommend anybody, I don't know about today, I would make anybody to go into the service, not for war, but for learning how to be independent, learning how to take care of yourself, and learning responsibility.
When you were overseas, how were you treated by civilians?
Well, they didn't like us being there, naturally. You're invading their country. Some towns we went through, they opened the windows and called us names, and they spit at us and whatever. But some other places we went to, like we had to have our clothes washed and cleaned, and with that we had to pay for it. Those people treated us good. There was some that were good, some that were bad. But actually, those people didn't really want us there.
Who was the most inspiring person you met?
Most inspiring person that I thought throughout my service? That's kind of tough. Kind of hard to say. My most inspiring person. Had those people in Georgia. Oh, okay. While I was at Hunter Airfield, I was with George Montgomery. He was an actor, and he came down there to do a movie. And in fact, the time I was on KP, I was with him, and we took pictures together and everything else. And he was married to Dinah Shore, I think, at the time. And kind of talked with him, and that was kind of a most experience. Very memorable. Kind of hard to think of back all those years.
What was the highest rank you received?
Well, during the war, I received acting sergeant, and my papers were supposed to be going in to make me a sergeant, but moving all around, and I don't know if the war, the way it was so up and uproar and everything else, I think everything was so, I don't know if my papers ever reached wherever they were supposed to go to make me a sergeant, but I only ended up being a PFC, and that's about it.
Did you receive, could you talk about your awards that you have here?
Well, my medals are naturally my Purple Heart, and this is my Bronze Star with 3 campaign stars on there. This is the Combat Medal, and the other ones are all campaign. This is the Star, the Medal of, I forget what it is, and then the other ones are campaign medals, actually, but the Bronze Star, this is the Bronze Star right here, and the other ones are campaign, where I had 3, you could see the 3 stars there when I was in 3 campaign battles, and Good Conduct Medal, and all the rest are campaign medals.
Can we just go through those again? Let me have it in front of you, because then I can get your face and you talking about them. Like which one is which.
Oh, okay.
Because then I can get you with the medals in the picture, and we can edit out my voice later on. Okay.
Okay, this is a Good Conduct Medal. This is a campaign medal, one of the campaign medals. And this is a Bronze Star. This is the Purple Heart. This is your campaign, when you're in battle. It shows you the rifle. And these are campaigns that I went through with the 3 battles that I had, the 3 stars, 3 battles that I went into.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like,
All right, then I'm going to ask some questions. So then she'll just delete my voice in the background. What were the battles that you were in? Like, can you talk about all the different, you said you were in 3 major battles.
It's really hard to say because it seems like I just couldn't remember, like I lost my memory being in battle, being afraid, and I don't know anybody that wasn't afraid. I just remember going from one thing to the other, going through villages and taking prisoners and until I was shot. But the campaigns I couldn't tell you because my memory just wasn't there, because it's all you thought about is being killed.
Right.
This is what you thought about. You're in battle because there's a lot of shooting and you don't know. There's no protection, really. I just lucked out. I had an angel on my shoulder where I saw a lot of soldiers being killed and hit, wounded, and everything else. And when I was hit, I don't even remember being in the hospital tent. And all I remember is somebody coming by saying all those that could walk would stay here, and all those who couldn't would get on the plane and go to a hospital in Paris. But I couldn't even tell you the battles I was going through because there was so much chaos and everything else. It was hard to even remember what you were doing.
Right.
So
Well, let's go backwards then. After you shipped out, what year was it, and where were you first stationed when you came over to Europe?
I went in 1943, and March. I was inducted in March. I went down to Miami Beach, which we didn't know where we were going. Our destination wasn't told. In April, and then from April I stayed there, marched through the streets, singing, getting our shots and everything else until we were shipped out. After 3 months, we closed up Miami Beach, and that's where I was shipped to Tent City in Savannah, Georgia. 1946, I was just about 3 years. That's when I came home in March.
Okay. So where was the first place that you went to in Europe then, when you left Savannah?
Where was the first place, in Savannah?
No, in Europe, after you left.
Oh, in Le Havre, France. That was our shipping place. We stayed there for a couple of weeks because they had a strike in New York Harbor and they couldn't ship us out. So we just stayed there and went to the theater, and we went to these places where they had stands where they were selling perfume and scarves and so on like that. And that's about all we did until we were ready to get shipped out. But that was in 1946, so it was about 3 years from when I went in till I came out.
So were you in France the whole time then?
I was in Le Havre, France, where that was our shipping place.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we entered. When we went to overseas, we went to Le Havre, France, and then they shipped us where we were going to battle. When we came back on the ship, we were 7 days in a storm, and I think it was about, the time difference was about 7 or 8 hours time difference, but we were in a terrible storm for 7 days. Then we got back to New York Harbor.
Okay, so you went overseas by ship and came back by
Oh,
ship?
yes, by
Okay.
ship, yes.
Okay.
Both. Yeah. Yeah. But when we went on over on a convoy, so we were kind of protected from that, submarines and so on. But like I said, I recommend anybody to go into service, not for war, but to learn how to be a man,
Right.
or how to be a woman.
Now, when
Really?
you were wounded, where were you where in France were you wounded? Do you know?
No, I was wounded in Germany.
Oh, you were in Germany at that point. Okay.
Yes. When I was in Le Havre, France, they sent you to Germany where they were having battle
Okay.
to one of the outfits that I was attached to. And I was a church that I was in, and we could see, we were on top of the hill, we could see battle down below, see fighting and everything else. And then when they retreated, we went down, we had to go take over. And like I said, from there on, I just kind of lost my memory. But
Understandable.
it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary.
And how long were you in the hospital then?
I was in a hospital. I was in a hospital, but they put me in like a dungeon. The hospital was in a dungeon because they were afraid of bombing and so on like that. And I had to report to the doctor every week, and he had to change my bandage. And then I had to go play ball and everything else, which I had a kink in my arm, and I just had to work that out by playing outside or exercising or whatever. But I would say it was in the hospital about going from one place to the other one until I got to my outfit. I would say about maybe 2 or 3 months.
And then they put you right back in the field again?
Right back in battle again.
Okay.
Once you were okay, and that's what they do. And that's why so many people, they don't have one Purple Heart, they have 2, 3. Because they get wounded again. And as I remember going to Czechoslovakia, we were on tanks. We were sitting on tanks. And we were shot by snipers that were hitting the tank. I could have been wounded again. But luckily I didn't. But then we went to Czechoslovakia, going from town to town, taking over these towns until we got to the point where we were going to the big city of Pilsen. And this is what our objective was. But we never reached there. And that's where we stayed. And then we, from there, we had to go on patrol for the 4 corners that they had. And one place was called Sangertown, Czechoslovakia. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
And they had a hospital up there. We're a German hospital. Half of them no legs, arms, and so on like that. It was very, nothing good to see anyway. But
So where were you when VE Day happened?
VE Day. VE Day, I was in Czechoslovakia. That's where I was.
So that had to have been pretty exciting
Yeah.
when you were all told of that.
Yeah. We stayed there until we were ready to go back. Wherever we had to go back. We were there for quite a while. And then when they shipped us to, decided what they were going to do with us, and that's where half of us went to the Nuremberg trials. But then I came back again to Czechoslovakia with the 104 Wolf Division, and we stayed there for a while, and I went to a lot of German dances that they had there in German Czechoslovakia, whatever they were. That was Sudetenland. That was where the Germans took over a portion of Czechoslovakia, which they called Sudetenland. And they had dances there and everything else. It was nice to go in there and just watch them and listen to them, because when they were dancing, everybody was singing, and it was so nice to hear. Because they all knew the words, I guess, and they all sang, and it was nice to just listen to them singing and dancing and so on. It was a good experience, though. Going from learning a lot, going from one country to the other, and going from one place to the other. That was the most memorable thing. I think it was the most exciting thing.
So then,
Seeing a lot of the world, anyway, half
Right.
of the world. Seeing how other people lived.
now when the Nuremberg trials, when did you went into that after you were in Czechoslovakia? And there was 100 of you, you said, that went to the Nuremberg trials?
Well, from the Nuremberg trials, once I got my points, because you had to go, they had to figure out how many years you were in, how many medals you had, and if you were wounded and so on, you average your points. And if you had over 50, like some guys were in there, had over 50 points, they would go home first. And this is what it would dwindle down to until you got 50 points, then you were on your way going back home. And then they would put you in an outfit that was going back home. So that's how that worked.
Okay. And that obviously was 1946 for you then.
Yes, 1946.
Now, you told us a story, though, before when you were here, when you were at the Nuremberg trials, about the gentleman that you were watching.
Oh, Göring. Hermann
Yeah.
Göring.
So can you tell that story?
Yes, Hermann Göring was supposed to he was Hitler's right, well, he wasn't Hitler's right man, Hess was, but he was supposed to take over once Hitler died or so. But they gave it to Admiral Donis. Göring was very upset about that. I was told to go downstairs where he was taking a shower, to wait for him till he got dressed and take him out for a walk. And when I took him out for the walk, I asked him, because we did have a hanging place in Palace of Justice, and most of the big 21 were hanged, and I asked him if he was going to be hanged, and he says he didn't think so. There was another story. And what I found out afterwards, that the alcove that they had where they had their bathroom, how when he got in there, I don't know how he did this, but he unloosened the bolt or something that on the pipe, and he put a cyanide tablet taped to it. So when they convicted him that he was to die, they found him dead the next day. So he must have loosened that, taken a cyanide table, and they found him dead the next day in bed. So they never did hang him like he said he would be.
Now, were you there the whole duration of the Nuremberg trials from start to finish?
No.
Okay.
No. I was there until my points were up. Then I used to leave. No. But I was going, well, not going, but I was attached to this girl. She was in Straubing, if I remember, Austria. She was an Austrian girl, or German-Austrian. She had an uncle and aunt in Nuremberg, where I was at. And I happened to be sitting next to her in a streetcar, and we got to talking. First she wouldn't listen, she wouldn't talk, but then after a while she did, and then she took me to her uncle and her aunt to meet them. And they didn't have much food, but they offered it to you. And before I left, I met her uncle, which was a flyer in the German army, and he invited me to his house, but that's when I was getting shipped out. But I understand that he said he had American records, Louis Armstrong and this, that, and everything else that he wanted me to listen to, but I never got there because I was shipped out the next time. But I could tell you one thing about the German people at that time, I don't know about now, but if you got attached to a girl or something or other, she would never leave you. And she would follow you right. In fact, the time I was leaving, she was waiting at the gate. crying their eyes out, and actually she didn't want me to leave. But they were attached to, they're very people that are attached to people. I don't know, as I see it, I don't know about other people, but I don't know about now, you know, if things have changed. But that's about it, that's what I can tell you.
Now, what about the two pictures? You want to talk
Well,
about,
this is-
we'll move this and then you
Yes.
can show the pictures and talk
Yes,
about them.
This is a picture, like I said, I just turned 19 in Miami Beach, and I took a picture, and they had a hat and everything, and they put it in the window. That's when I first was down there for 3 months. And this one here is where the Nuremberg trials were at. It's outside, there was a tank, and I was sitting on a tank, and you can see the wall. There's a wall going all around the Nuremberg trials, and they had soldiers on the wall just in case they were invaded by anybody. But that's what those pictures were.
Very nice. Okay. All right, so how about your homecoming? How about coming back?
Homecoming, when I got to New York, I was there for a while, and I rented a room, and I went to different shows. I had the opportunity to go to shows. I was on my own, and then I called up home, and they said they were waiting for me to come home. So I rented a room to another soldier. I got on the train and I came home. And naturally, I was welcomed by my family. I was the youngest of 9 children, 6 brothers and 2 girls. And naturally, everybody wanted to know about my experience, asking me how I got wounded and so on. But that's about it. And then getting back, it took about, I'd say almost quite a while to get back adjusted to civilian life. And it took quite a while. Because you're so used to getting up at certain times, marching, this, that, and everything else. It took quite a while. I had a few nightmares thinking about the war and being wounded and so on, but nothing drastic.
Now, you said at one point you know, when you were in your battle in different places, one of the things you did was to take prisoners places. These were prisoners of war, I take it?
Oh, yes.
So what was that? I mean, can you talk about that?
Well, I never had, we take them in, but I never had, they were taken over by other people, take them where they had to go. I never.
So you were just like in transit with them?
No, I
Okay.
never had anything to do with them at all.
Okay.
Just like the towns we take, and they would surrender.
Mm.
Notice that they, that we've seen tanks come in, or the army coming in, or something or other, and they would just about give up, because that's what a lot of them did. A lot of them just when we came in, a lot of them took off. They just retreated and left. But the war is, like I said, I don't support any war. That's my opinion, that I don't support any war. In war, you don't get nothing out of a war. The only thing is, there's lives to be taken. The civilians, they suffer. Everybody's suffering from a war. That's my opinion, that I don't support. A lot of people do. They figure there's a reason for it, and I said, no. I don't.
Now, how did you enlist then? What moved you to enlist into the military then?
Move me to what?
Enlist, like when you.
Oh, I didn't enlist.
Oh, you were drafted then.
I was drafted.
Okay. Now, do you remember that? I mean, like the whole process of, like, did you get a
we
letter
were,
or?
They classified you in those days, and then when you got to be 1A, then at the time that your I would say when you became 1A, then when they got to your name, they had you drafted going to one of the places where they would induct you. And when I got there, and I was being inducted, they would give you a kind of a small physical, and then they would bring you to either they had the Marines, the Navy, or the Army, or Coast Guard, whatever. And when they brought me to the Navy, and I says, no, I don't want to go in, I don't want to go in the water. I just didn't care for being in the water, so they pushed me to the Army, and that's how I got in.
Okay.
Went to the service in the
Okay.
Army. And then I had to wait until I was ready to leave. I went down to the train station, and that's where they put me on a train going to Camp Upton. And Camp Upton, then they had to put you on another train, excuse me, and never tell you your destination. It was a secret. We didn't know where we were going. They just, until we got to Miami Beach, and then they handed us an orange. Everybody got an orange on the train. And that's how we knew we were in Miami Beach. But it was nice.
Now, Lucy, do you have any stories that you've heard that he should share?
No, he told about, I reminded him about Savannah, so
Okay.
about the family there.
That's nice.
I tried to go back to see them when I was going down to Florida, but it was kind of hard to find. Because probably were married, and maybe they died or something or other. And I had to call her, mommy. I had to call her, she wanted me to call her that. And I was so, really, I was so naive and everything else. I really didn't know much about life, being with other families and so on. Strange family, but they treated me wonderful. I remember having supper or dinner with them or something or other, and she said to me, Tom, go to the refrigerator and get a lime. I didn't even know what a lime was. I opened the refrigerator and I said, no, you haven't got any lime. She goes, oh yes I do, there's a lime there, there's a little yellow, and a little green thing, it looked like a lemon. I said, oh okay, so I got that. Then they served grit. Oh, I didn't care for grit, but whatever. But their father was a train master, hardly ever saw him. He would come home once in a while, and when he did come home, everybody had to call him sir.
Wow.
The kids had to call him sir. They couldn't even call him dad or father or anything like that. I said, that was unusual. It seemed like they were afraid of him or something or other. I don't know.
Well,
That's the way
Southerners
that
do
works.
that, Tom.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they probably...
When we went for Rachel's wedding, the young men called me ma'am all the time.
Oh, yes.
And
That's what
they
I
called
said.
you sir.
Politeness.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, we
Big
went...
difference in
yeah.
southern men and northern men. Very big difference.
Now, one other thing. What about the ceremony of getting the Purple Heart? How did you receive
Well,
that then?
anybody that was in combat and wounded in combat, that's how they got the Purple Heart.
Right.
When they were wounded in combat. A lot of people think they had malaria or they had a sickness or something or other, and they deserved the Purple Heart. No. Now, they gave the Purple Heart to prisoners of war, which they never did before. But actually, Purple Heart is for wounded in action. This is what that's for.
So when they gave it to you, was there a ceremony? Did they have a...
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, so many people got Purple Hearts.
Okay.
They would just give it to you. They'd have no put on a medal on you or something or
Right.
other. No, not during the war.
Okay. Okay.
But I could say this, like I said, it was hard to remember, but they had medics all around the battle, and when somebody was wounded, the medics would be there. What I understand, I don't know, I must have passed out or something, but they cut my straps, and everything I had in my straps, I had all my valuables and everything else, and I just lost everything. But the Red Cross gave me toothpaste and things that I had to use and a little bit of money or so on to keep me going. But then, a month after that, I received a letter from the Red Cross saying that I had to pay them back for what they gave me.
They did that to all the servicemen, even the cigarettes.
Wow.
Yep, they charged them for cigarettes.
Even when we were on battle, or like we were taking a rest area or something, Red Cross would come out with a truck into the field, and they would serve coffee and donuts or
boys
whatever
paid
they
for it.
served,
They paid
and we had to pay for it.
Wow.
Like it was only 5 cents or whatever, 10 cents, whatever it was, but we had to pay for it. They didn't give it to us for nothing. Salvation Army probably would have gave you everything, but Salvation Army wasn't out there. Red Cross was.
Huh.
But I never paid them because I had, going through a battle, I was worried about paying them. I never heard from them anymore.
Huh.
Do you remember Danny Fusco at all on the radio? Maybe you're too young.
Well,
Danny?
I probably know his son, who
Well-
does the piano.
Oh, I don't know, did Danny have a son? But anyway, Dan was used to have his radio station. And he always talked about the Red Cross, because he never forgot it when he was in the service. He paid for everything they gave him. He says, and don't you believe that you get it for nothing. Because
Wow.
you do not. And they didn't. They
That's
don't.
really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm, well, see, I'm prejudiced anyway. Salvation Army is my favorite charity, and I always give Salvation Army. Red Cross, the president of the Red Cross gets $450,000 a year. The president of Salvation Army gets $35,000. What does that tell you? Why do you
They
think
cater to the
those
people.
wives played
Salvation
for it?
Army caters to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of this, I'm afraid. So, well, this was a good, interesting information.
I thank you for having me.
Well, we thank you. You want to sign off by saying thank you, and we'll have that officially in there.
Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay.